Hello, my name is Jess and this is my channel Little by Piku, where I discuss all things cross-stitch related and a little bit more of a craft haul today. Welcome to all those that have decided to join along with my my journey, and welcome back to all those that have been following. It's been fantastic to hear from you, all your comments and messages, and yeah, let's keep this ball rolling. Today I wasn't really planning on filming today, but I spent this morning at the local craft stores getting some supplies for some finishing I'm doing, and then I came home to kind of start that, and then this is classic procrastination of even doing a craft. I don't know if that's like craft procrastination, don't know, but I decided, why not film a video? It's been 2 weeks since my last video, so I guess technically on the schedule I've been keeping to I'm due for an update. So I thought I'd just film a quick video now. Hopefully it won't be too long for you, and then I will probably get some crafting done before we've got some friends coming over for dinner tonight. But first of all, so today I've got one sort of fully finished object, a finish, and then a couple of updates on my projects I'm working on at the moment. And then there will be a bit of a section at the end for those interested in what I bought this morning at the craft store, and then a little bit more as well around my plans for upcoming stitching, because I've realized that I only have 2 whips on the go, which is I guess how I used to always normally roll, but definitely there's some room to add some more projects to the mix now. But cool, let's get on with it. So what have I finished since my last video? So my last video, I believe I did an update on my stitch I was doing called Frankenscat by Lindy Stitches. I'll put a picture of the pattern here. So this one comes with 2 patterns. So there's the Frankenscat, and then there's also Purple Transport, which is the horse with the cat design as well. So I am planning on doing that pattern as well. I just have to get the fabric in from overseas. So looking to get that underway. I've got the called for floss for it required, and that will be an upcoming plan. But here is my finish. So I was planning on getting a frame and putting this in a frame itself, but the framers were closed today, and I just wanted to kind of get it finished so I could have it on display downstairs on my shelf. So I decided to do sort of a simple canvas finish, and here it is. So I'll just bring that nice and close so you can have a look. So I used the called for floss, and then the fabric that I've used, which the color isn't quite picking up sort of as well as it should. I'll see if I can bring that. It's just really beautiful. It's well, if you're having a look at it online, it's a 28 count casual linen in petrol blue, and the called for fabric for this one is like a peachy orange type color, but otherwise I was gonna have to dye that myself. But I really like the effect of the sort of the greeny olive on the petrol blue, so I'm really happy with how that turned out. So basically I just got a canvas from the local craft shop. I decided, normally when I stretch sort of fabric over a canvas, I just go over the canvas material directly. But today I put some batting across it just to help kind of keep I find when linen, when you're stretching it, it kind of really warps, and like it's really hard, especially when there's like a relatively straight line along the bottom, like really hard to keep that as a straight line itself. So I wrapped the canvas in batting, and then I stretched the fabric over that. So like it's not the most well finished job in the world. If you'll see the back of it, leaves a little bit to maybe be desired for those that look at finishing. But the plan with this is that it's either gonna go like, I can either just sort of hang it directly on the wall, or I've got a couple of these little like easels. So I thought otherwise that would look quite cute sitting on there on a shelf downstairs. And then it's easy to swap out as I want to as well. But I'm really happy with how that turned out. It was a really fun stitch. So definitely recommend giving that one there a go. So that's my finish, or my fully finish. The other finish that I've done, which I started in my last video as well, is I was working on Little Bo Peep. So this is a design by Jera, available from Creative Poppy, and I have stitched this on a 32 count, I think it's petite point linen with the natural with the white dot, which has been really fun. And I haven't stitched on this type of fabric before, and had lots of really nice comments on Instagram about the fabric choice. And I mean, I love all designs that are whimsical and fun, and think that this sort of fabric really lends itself to this type of design. So I finished her off. I think my last update, I hadn't yet completed the body of the sheep and the flowers, so got that done. And then I sat down on, so today's Sunday, sat down on Monday and thought I may as well make a start on Little Boy Blue, which is the other part of the design. And I finished him within sort of like, I think by Thursday he was done. So again, really fun, quite easy, quick stitch. He's just got the most adorable hat and pants, and like his hair color, like I put a picture on my Instagram, one of the cord 4 threads for the hair color was this really like olive green color, but once it's sort of like mixed in with the browns, it just looks really effective with his little sheep. Oh, so cute. So the plan with this, which is then coming up in my plans and part of my craft shopping exercise today, is to finish it into a needle book. So my idea is that this will be sort of the front cover and that's the back. And so I'm going to work out how to sew these two together, have it inside so that then the inside will be layered with felt pieces, and then I can sort of, you know, hook my different size needles into the felt to keep them a little bit more organized than my sort of, you know, Ziploc bag at the moment type scenario. So really happy with how that turned out. I'm almost tempted to split them and make 2 needle books, but I think, I don't know if they can be separated. They're a cute wee couple, so they deserve to stay together on either side of the book. So that is one of my upcoming plans, and I'll share some more of what I bought today to finish this off, so that will be coming up shortly. So that was my 2 finishes for the last fortnight. Otherwise, my whips that I've been working on, the first one is the Animal House, which is a stitch along by Satsuma Street. So I'll put a picture here of what this week's sort of pattern looked like. So it's been released every 2 weeks. So the next one's due to come out this upcoming Friday, and then that will be part 5, and then another 2 weeks time will be part 6, which is the last 2 parts of the house. So the house is slowly being built upwards. This is where I'm at the moment. So I finished up with part 4. I generally stitch these like the weekend that they come out. So this one here, the latest part was the sloth and the kangaroo and the joey, and then sort of this whole blue border along the top and the sort of windows around it. So nice and close, you can see. Really fun. Like every time I post this one, or you know, everyone sort of comments on how the color combinations, and I especially love just this like purple and orange down here in these flowers. But it's just such a fun stitch in terms of the color choices that she uses. Like she is obviously a master of all things color. So loving how that is slowly progressing along. And while I'm filming this, I just sort of had dawned on me that I actually have 3 whips, because I completely forgot about my Satsuma Street grease. So I'm gonna have to pause this a moment and go run downstairs and get that one. But this is, you know, waiting for part 5 this coming week. My only concern is that the from the sort of the guide plan is part 5 and part 6. Like this is the height of the design, and this is about the halfway point. So I just don't know how high or how big those parts are going to be. I'm kind of hoping it's a really angled pointy roof, or maybe like a flag mast, or there's some comments on Facebook, maybe it's like a giraffe, because there's no giraffe yet. So giraffe poking its head up to the top, which would make sense. So hopefully it's not going to be too much stitching for parts 5 and 6. But you know, if it is, we'll stitch them. Not going to complain. So really loving how that's progressing at the moment. I'm going to pause the video here and go grab my other whip, and I'll be right back. And I'm back. Not that for you I went anywhere. So my second whip that I've been working on, out of the 3 whips I do currently have in my rotation, you know, this is pretty much my whip parade in a video as well, is the Satsuma Street grease pattern. So I'll pop a picture of it here of the finished design and what that does look like. And I believe in my last video I had stitched just the Parthenon. I don't think I'd started Santorini yet, but this is where I'm at the moment. So I completed Santorini, and then I've been working on the grass green hills in the background. So yeah, I don't know if I mentioned this in the last video, the way I work on these is that I have to stitch just how I sort of mentally check them off as I go, as one sort of part of the design at a time. So yesterday we actually had our monthly stitchy meetup with a group of lovely women up here in Auckland. And so I had to finish off the hill before I could start on my other whip that I was working on. Otherwise, the next part I'm going to do is the Mykonos, which is the windmills to this side here. But if I started that, I have to kind of finish the windmills before I allow myself to pick up another project. So I finished those hills off yesterday, and then this will sort of sit as it is for maybe a couple of days, and I'll pick it up again. But yeah, loving that. I am stitching this on white Aida 18 count, as all the other cities have been done as well. I am finding with this, I'm stitching with all the cord for DMCs, is that my thread is quite, like it's sort of like pilling and, you know, getting quite fine and fluffy. So I have been using just like a standard, like the John James 28 tapestry needles, but today I did go, so these are what I have been using, just like those ones there. Today when I was at the craft shop, I picked up some Bowen needles, which I don't know if I've used before, those ones there. So whether I might try those to see if that makes any difference to the sort of the floss, but otherwise would love to hear any sort of advice you have on stitching, yeah, with sort of like it is. So I'm stitching it like 2 strands over 1 aida square, so 2 over 1 with the called for threads, but whether there's any sort of tips or tricks. I don't think it's the, and I don't know if I've had this issue previously, whether previously I've used a larger needle, like maybe a 26, and not that you can see it's left like larger holes or anything like that. I don't know if I've actually used 28 needles before, but whether there's any advice that you can pass on about sort of how to best manage it, or whether it is just the needle and the needles causing the fabric to sort of fray and floss, like until sort of like, you know, go a bit fluffy. So otherwise I'm going to try some new needles and see how that goes. So working on that one. Then my next whip that I started, it was after, so yeah, on my last video I was asking for some advice. So Stitchy Symphony on Flosstube, I'll link her account down below, had started a stitch along for Una Buena Piez's garden design. So she's got a couple of garden sort of designs. There's the haunted garden, rainbow garden, and also like a pastel garden. And Stitchy Symphony had started the haunted garden, and I was trying to decide on my last video whether to get the rainbow garden or the haunted garden. So I decided on the rainbow garden because I just I love colour, so why not? And so I started that one there up. So there is a hashtag on Instagram. I don't actually think I've yet to post a picture of it to my Instagram, so I will be posting a picture this week, but I'll pop all the hashtags and the details below. And also Stitchy Symphony posted a short video with details about the sale. So if you've been sort of eyeing up some of these designs, would love to see if you're working on those. So do drop a comment or follow a message on Instagram. I'd love to see the progress that you're making. But this is where I'm at so far. So I did a bit of work on this yesterday. So I've kind of finished the, I'll pop a picture actually here of the final design. So there's sort of the rainbow colours kind of coming across on like a diagonal angle. So far I've kind of stitched the top yellow part and working my way into the oranges, and I'm really enjoying stitching on it. The tricky thing with this is that you stitch on it for a while and you look at it and you think, what progress have I actually made? So I think I need to take sort of regular pictures of it to kind of see what sort of motifs I've added to it over that, you know, the course of a couple of hours. So with this one, there is a couple of ghosts. So I have got a ghost to fill in here, and I think there's another ghost up here somewhere which I've yet to stitch. And part of that decision is I'm trying to decide how to do the ghosts. So I think I don't want to just do them in the called for white or ecru, what colour it is. I did some shopping during the week, and I bought some different options for the ghost. So one option is the glow in the dark DMC thread, which I've heard is quite a mission to stitch with. It looks really thick in terms of it, so I think it'd be maybe like a, yeah, it looks a bit messy. I think it'd be something that Thread Magic will have to work its magic for. So I'm trying to decide whether to use that for the ghosts, or my other option, and because, you know, I'm a novice at all things beading, is I bought some glow-in-the-dark Mill Hill seed beads. So those, and then I also bought some black beads as well for, I was thinking, for the ghost eyes. So has anyone, again, any advice, has anyone used these beads, and how effective are they at glowing? Like, I did leave them in the room and came back in when it was dark, and there was quite a glow to it. But I am thinking of whether to do, I think doing both would be too tricky, because I think this thread will be too thick to go through these beads. I mean, I might try it and give it a go. But otherwise, yeah, thinking of stitching the ghost all in glow-in-the-dark beads and seeing how that turns out. I might do like a trial ghost stitch this week, because I'm thinking of otherwise leaving it to the end, just because there's quite a big bit of fabric, and as I sort of roll it up as I work towards the bottom, I imagine that the parts that I bead will just get annoying and a bit messy if they're rolled up with the rest of the fabric. But yeah, any thoughts? Love to hear. Otherwise, please join along. It's such a, yeah, her designs are all on Etsy. Just such a fun design. I've done a few of, I've done one of her designs in the last few weeks and really enjoyed it. So definitely check her out. So that's my 3 whips. So I do have 3: Animal House, Grease, and Rainbow Garden. So there's still, I guess, a few more that I could add to the rotation. So the next sort of part is my plans for the next couple of weeks. So my first plan, and this is sort of a plans and haul part of my video, so if that still interests you, please stick around. If not, thanks for joining so far. But otherwise, what's coming up in the next few weeks? So I am off on holiday in July. So mentioned previously, I'm heading across to Europe for a couple of weeks. So I'm sort of thinking about what I want to take with me on holiday. I'm not expecting I'm going to have a lot of stitching time. It's going to be summer, so it's going to be hopefully, it'd be nice if it was like mid-20s, but you know, it's Italy, so it could get to 30 degrees or so. And then we're doing some travel to a couple of other countries as well over the course of just over 3 weeks. So I'm trying to think of what projects I can take with me. So mainly I have enough stitching to do on the plane. My goal is to kind of see how much stitching I can do while in the air. I'm not even sure of the whole journey time. I think it's roughly 30 or so hours. It's one big long flight from here to, where are we even flying into? Singapore, and then Singapore to Germany, and then to Italy. So it's a couple of really long flights. You don't even want to know how long the flights are. So when you get on the plane, you just know you're sitting there until you're off the plane again, and to make sure that you do sleep, eat when they feed you, drink, keep hydrated, try and move around. But really it's just a lot of sitting and doing nothing. When we flew back to New Zealand during COVID time, so last year, there was no one on our flight. It was literally like 30 people. So we each had like rows of 4 seats to ourselves to have a, you know, proper stretch out and have a nap. Whereas these flights look like they're fully booked. So it's going to be a different sort of back to the normal vibe again, which is kind of cool, but it's just going to be person next to person, put a mask on, sort of just avoid others if you can, and then just sort of make your way across to the other side of the world. So as part of that, I'm working on what to stitch. One design that I have now kitted up over the last week is the Yellow Submarine. So I showed this in one of my previous videos that I bought this pattern, and it's one of my first sort of paper patterns. So it's the Yellow Submarine by Blackbird Designs, and I was thinking this would be a really fun stitch to do while on the plane. I just think there's something kind of, I don't know, in my head kind of quirky about stitching a submarine while in an aircraft in the middle of the, you know, flying across the world. So I have got all the called for colours for this, and I am making a decision of what fabric to use. So I'll just grab, so I haven't yet used the Gentle Art sample threads, but I've got all the called for colours there. So some really beautiful, like I was trying to decide whether I could substitute any DMCs for the colours, but I decided that they all kind of, you know, like needed to strike in their own way. I've heard that a few people have stitched the submarine and they're called for like yellows and just haven't got the same effect as the pattern. So looking forward to giving those a go. I think I've narrowed down the fabric, but again, I would love your opinion of what you think. The sort of, sorry, I'm just gonna open some bags. The 2 fabrics that I've recently purchased from Stitch NZ is either this, this is a 28 count, so I'm already kind of thinking more 32 count anyhow. This is a cashel linen in green grey. So the fabric, that would be that one there. So I don't know if the colours are really showing up, you know, as they can do anyhow. So it's quite a soft sort of, yeah, grey blue colour, I'd say. The called for fabric for this one is Cedar Plank by Lakeside Linens, which I'm not going to get before I head off anywhere. So it's either trying to decide between green grey or the other colour, which I think I'm leaning more towards, because it's 32 count, is a Belfast linen called Blue Spruce, which I think is, it's definitely a darker colour, and that's showing up relatively well, but I think the colours will pop on that more. I've seen a few people stitch it on more of a grey type tone as well, but it is sort of, I guess, an under the sea, and I think the blue kind of really lends itself to that. So especially like that, like the yellow there as well on the blue. Like it's, I guess when you're kind of doing a, not that I've done a lot of floss tosses, but it's kind of looking at what colours in the pattern are really going to be a prime feature. Like for example, you could get fixated on this red, but like the red's just sort of a few little details, as opposed to like majority of this pattern is the submarine. So, you know, like the yellow kind of really just like pops on the blue. So if anyone else has got any other fabric recommendations for fabrics that I can easily get in New Zealand in the next few weeks, do let me know. But otherwise, I think I will make a start on this. I'll probably make a start before maybe in the next few weeks before I head off, so that, you know, it's all sort of got the right point of where I'm starting from and centered and got some stitches in place, and then I'll pick that up while I'm on the plane. So I've got that one there to get sorted. I'll just pop these back away. And then the other one that I've kitted up is Eleanor Rigby, so the other Blackbird Designs pattern I bought. So this one here is, it comes in two colorways. So there's either, I guess the kind of grey tones of Eleanor Rigby, and then there's Sweet Baby, which is that one there with the sort of pinks and greens. I've got the called for threads for Eleanor Rigby itself. This one here calls for 30 count Absidarian by R&R Reproductions. Don't know if that's how it's correctly pronounced, but it's quite like a just like an oatmeal-y cut color. I think it doesn't really, a lot of people I've seen have stitched this on like a more of a grey tone. So at the moment I have got the called for threads for this one, which are these here. It's all relatively muted grey tones, which will be nice easy stitch of colours. And then the fabric that I've got, and had this in my stash since I was living in the UK, so I've got no idea what I bought it for. It's a 28 count Brittany Lagana in Whisper Grey. And I actually don't think I've ever stitched on a even weave fabric before, so I thought this would be quite a good one to give it a go, especially because like with the design, I guess with any design, like it's got relatively straight lines, and I guess that's always the thing with linens, is that because there's slubs and changes in the linen, is that your lines can always be slightly off kilter. So those are the colours on that one there. Like it's just a really simple grey, so I think that would look quite, like the colours will still kind of pop a little bit on the colour, but be relatively muted. It looks like a relatively, I guess it's still quite a big stitch, but not too much work, because I think I will probably stitch this to give away to someone else, and then maybe stitch another one for myself, or maybe stitch another one using my own, just kind of do my own called for colours and see what that looks like. So that's another start for the next coming weeks. I'm not sure yet how many patterns, like how many designs I'll take on holiday with me. Probably just maybe one or two, depending on, I mean, the worst thing would be flying home, wouldn't it? And not having something to stitch on the plane right on the way back. Oh, goodness me. So yeah, try to keep, I'm not taking, I mean, you know, of course when you're traveling, you don't want to take a whole lot of excess luggage or clothing or anything you're not really going to wear or use. So you've got to always be kind of account for that. And I also don't know if there's any good sort of cross stitch or embroidery shops in, so we're in Italy, Croatia and Poland. So if anyone knows any local kind of brands that like, or local companies that would have a shop in, where are we heading to? Bologna, Verona, Venice, Milan, the islands in Croatia, if there's a local needlework shop there, I'm not quite sure. And then we're in Krakow in Poland. If anyone knows anything, again, love to hear your suggestions of anything I should check out. But otherwise, you know, it's not a holiday to take my partner around, you know, heading off the beaten track to an embroidery cross-stitch shop. But if there's one close by, then it's a very easy detour that I can convince him to take. So I've got those two. My other sort of pattern that I'm looking at starting, and I bought just earlier this week, was one of Kathy Barrick's designs that I've yet to have done one of her designs as well. She has a sale on her Etsy store at the moment with, I think it's 20% off. So if you're a fan, it's worth definitely checking out her sale. And I bought this design here. So I can buy the PDF, which for me is fantastic because I have it straight away as soon as I purchase it. And I love that instant gratification. I've bought the spring pin drum. So it looks like, yeah, it's got a rabbit and I love bunnies and it's really cute with a strawberry on it as well. So I haven't yet stitched or finished a drum. And so I thought, well, this would be a good chance to give that a go and see how that turns out. So looking forward to trying that. I have got a couple of sort of, again, like bluey grey type. I think that's kind of my colour tones of fabrics I generally just haul and not use. So I've got a few different sort of like sagey green fabrics in my stash. But also looking to see otherwise whether to buy something or hand dye something to give it a bit more of a natural type look, and then we'll look forward to getting that underway. Otherwise, that's most of my videos. So I'm just going to share some of the fabrics I bought today because I think they're super cute. And if you're like me, if you do cross stitch but you also like fabrics or quilting or any other sort of sewing, then feel free to stay around. So the first plan is, yeah, so how am I going to complete my my needlework folder. So I used to do a lot of felt sewing as when I was younger, so I've got a whole lot of felt here that I'm looking to use for the inside sort of pages. So I think I'm probably going to do something like the purple on the inside for the needles. And then I found this fabric, which is a relatively thick type linen. So I'm thinking of using that at the moment for the inside cover. But again, and then with the purple, I mean, I'm all about colour and clashing, so then that will kind of go there and be nice and bright. And then I found this really cute fabric today at Ribbon Rose, which is Tula Pink Homemade, called Cut Once. And it's this kind of really cute design with sewing machines and needles and threads, kind of maps out, you know, what a cutting board looks like. So I thought that was really fun and might use it somehow on the inside for like a little pocket or decide what to do. So that's what I've got so far. The other fabrics I bought from Ribbon Rose today are from, and I saw these last time I was in there, and I really had to, it became a had to buy. Do I have the designer's name? So I think it's Monica Forsberg. It's just cut off the tag. It was Monica. I believe she's a London illustrator, and she's done a fabric collection for Conservatory Craft. This one is called Little Portraits with PAW. Oh, so some whole lot of cats. I like cats. I'm not a huge cat person, but I just love the whimsical little pictures of the cats. They're so cute. So I bought that one, and I also bought this one of cats in cars and scooters and bikes and doing all sort of fun activities together. So the plan with these two pieces and a bit of the offcuts of this one is for another project bag. So I'm actually seeing my mum next weekend. So I'm also, as well as trying to convince her to film a video with me, she will be receiving these fabrics to do another project bag for me. I know that I probably could learn to make one myself, but you know, she's mastered the zips and the vinyl and everything like that. And you know, she's got time and likes to sew. So it's my gift to her as a gift of craft, and then she can re-gift it back to me. So I'm looking forward to, yeah, seeing what she thinks of my fabric choice. Always a little bit out there. And then I bought, when I was at Ribbon Rose, just a whole bunch of, a couple of like yellow rickrack, and some ribbons for the needlebook holder as well. So I was looking at whether to do like a button on the front and the elastic that would hook around into the button. But then I was playing with around some buttons in the shop. But if I stick a button on the front, and again, happy for any opinions you have, then the button would go sort of here, because otherwise it'll interfere with the flowers. So then I'm thinking instead of just using a little bit of ribbon and it being kind of like a tie close. So I'm not sure really when I'll get a chance to start sewing this up, maybe this week, but yeah, have to see how I get on with that. But otherwise I've got everything I hopefully need now to get that started. And then the other fabrics I bought today when I was at Spotlight. So Spotlight's like a relatively large crafting shop in Australia and New Zealand. So they always have, there's always a sale. It's just how they work. I bought this fabric, which is like a cotton drills, like a relatively heavy fabric with a whole lot of sloths on it. So the plan with this one is I want to make my partner like a little lunch bag to put his container he takes him to work with his lunch on. So I bought that fabric. We always joke he's got some socks with sloths on it, and they're always Monday socks, because that's when you feel like just, you know, the thought of going to the office, when you know, who wouldn't like to be a sloth having a good sleep all day. And I then bought this fabric, which I've got no idea what I'm using it for, but with a whole lot of whales, and I think it's all whales, no dolphins, or, but yeah, I just thought that was really quite cool. So I don't know what I'll use it for yet, but that will go in the stash. I do have my whale cross stitch I did a few weeks ago. So whether, I was trying to think, I haven't finished that one yet, whether to make it into like a cushion with this on the back, but might have to have a think, or whether, yeah, somehow incorporate those two together. And then I bought this one, which I have seen online. I think I saw, yes, some people that have made face masks out of it, and it's The Simpsons. And I'm not like a huge Simpsons fan. I haven't really watched it for years, apart from some reruns of old episodes, but I just think that's quite fun. So maybe that will become a project bag or something else. Just thought it was a bit quirky and different. And yeah, those are my fabrics. So otherwise, my plans is to sort of now, after filming this video, is to sort out the mess I've created on the floor and maybe get some sewing started. But we do have friends coming for dinner tonight, so I need to go to the supermarket and get some ingredients. But otherwise, what else have I been up to in the last, for a bit of life update of what I've been watching and what's been going on in the last few weeks. A couple of Flosstubers that I've started watching. Well, one that I've been watching for a while is Amanda from Alba Stitcher. She's had a couple of weeks off Flosstube. She unfortunately had a fall and had a break to her leg. Must have been a couple of months ago, but then she's had a few more sort of issues, so she's been a bit unwell. But she has posted a Flosstube video last week, and it's great to see her back online. So welcome back, and hope that the next steps of that they've worked out what's the issue, and the next steps of your recovery do go really well. But her videos are definitely worth binge watching from the start. She's lives in Scotland, just seems like a super lovely person, and really enjoy her videos. She's currently stitching this design that I'll share here called Moonflower, which I just love, and I'm definitely probably going to have to she's definitely enabled me to buy this pattern, so this is going to be definitely an upcoming project. I just love, obviously I love all things kind of whimsical, and the little sun or moon, I'm trying to think now, I don't have the picture in front of me, you'll see it here, it's just got the most cutest little whimsical face, so I think it's just adorable, so definitely going to get that one undergo. So she's enabled me to buy that pattern. She's currently working on it at the moment, so check out her latest video for her progress. The other Flosstuber that I've started watching, who's a new Flosstuber, is Bridget, who is the museum stitcher. She's got 2 videos out, and she is just like a bundle of energy. She just seems super passionate. I think she's only said she's been stitching for like just over a year, and then she keeps bringing out her whips and her projects and her finishes, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, like so advanced and so much, she's got quite a bit of stash and quite a few things on the go, but definitely worth checking out her 2 videos. So I'll pop both links for those both down below. Otherwise, yeah, the last few weeks have been relatively busy with work and life and just things going on. I think some people I've had a couple of comments, maybe 2 people that have commented they like sort of my New Zealand update pictures and what I've been up to. So I will continue sort of doing that. If it's something of interest to you, then do let me know. If there's anything you'd like to know about life in New Zealand, I'm always happy to share. But one of my highlights of the last 2 weeks was I actually got to go on a helicopter trip. So for a work trip we did, sort of as a reward for some work we did last year, did a helicopter ride from Auckland to Waiheke Island. So Waiheke is an island in the Gulf of like the Auckland harbour. It's about 40 minutes on the ferry across. Otherwise the helicopter ride takes like 10 minutes. It was pretty much up and down. But it's the first time I've been in a helicopter. So I'll pop some pictures here, but we left from sort of the north shore of Auckland, took the helicopter across. You go across Rangitoto Island, which like a lot of things in New Zealand and Auckland is another dormant volcano. And it looks just like nothing from above. You don't really... It's such a prominent island that we see from the main city line in the harbour, but it was kind of crazy flying over it. And then we landed at Stony Ridge Winery. We got greeted with a glass of champagne at the on the grass. So it was just very much, this is the life that you want to live. And then we had a beautiful lunch at Stony Ridge with a couple of my colleagues, and then we caught the helicopter back home. And yeah, I mean, wouldn't that be nice if that was every Friday lunch? But then, yes, that was 2 Fridays ago, whereas the Friday just passed. I spent the day working from home, wearing sweatpants, and I think I had a smoothie for lunch. So that was just back to reality type check there. But that was sort of the highlight, I guess, of the last 2 weeks, was that trip. And then coming up this week, we have Friday as a public holiday. So it's the celebration of Matariki, which is, I guess it's the form of sort of New Zealand's, so New Zealand's native people, the Maori, it's their sort of New Year holiday. It's the first time that we have celebrated it as a public holiday in New Zealand. So I feel like last year was the first year that Matariki became more of a discussion point and more of an education for those around what it means and what it sort of resembles. And then because I guess they were announcing that this year we were going to add it to our public holidays, so that every June going forward we'll have, I think it will be continuously a Friday. I don't know if it's the 3rd Friday of June or how they work it. So Matariki is a celebration of like a cluster of stars that appear in the night sky, and then that is a sort of symbolization of the new Maori New Year going forward. I was having a read about it that it's a cluster of 7 stars. So in the Greek name is the Pleiades, or the 7 sisters, and then there's 7 stars. They resemble and are different sort of areas of what they're doing with harvesting and remembrance, and so it's all about you know, celebrating the present and then sort of looking forward to the future and what will be going forward. But historically it was tied a lot to what they should be planting and harvesting and hunting, and it sort of signified what the upcoming season would be like. So that's on Friday, so it means we get a day off work and a public holiday to mark that celebration. I suppose it's like anything, it's a time for spending time with family and friends, and hopefully that it'll be a nice, beautiful, clear night and get a good, not that necessary because the star constellation can appear in the midwinter months, so it might not mean that, I'm actually not sure if even if the star constellation has been visible yet, or whether it'll be visible by Friday. But it's that kind of time where, you know, it's, I guess these days we don't necessarily look to the stars for guidance of what will be coming up, but it'll be sort of a time this coming week, so spending some time, we'll see my parents and just have a relaxing day off work, and probably get some stitching and other projects done. And it will be, yeah, it looks like it's forecasted to be quite cold, and so hopefully you get the fire going, and it will be, you know, just a nice cozy time indoors, and hopefully no rain. But yeah, so that's sort of the week ahead. So hopefully I can convince my mum to join me for a Flosstube video next week, maybe like a special edition of what she's got on the go at the moment. I think I'm like this close to twisting her arm into joining me, so we'll see if that happens. No promises, but I'll see what I can do, because yeah, I'd love to sort of share her, and she's a craft inspiration to me, and see what she's been up to. Otherwise, I will catch you all in the next few weeks. I probably will have maybe one more update before I head off on holidays. So yeah, try and post at least one update to sort of share what I'm up to from there. But otherwise, thank you very much for joining me today, and I hope that whatever you're stitching on, I mean, I'd love to know what you're working on, so feel free to comment, send me a message, a photo, what you're up to, and how you've sort of filled in this time with me today. But otherwise, I'll catch you all next time. Thank you. Bye.